All right. So the first story is actually how I met you. So I went to a UAP conference where
UAP.
UFO, for those who don't know the lingo, and this is in New York. And one of the many reasons to go there was to meet Sharon Rowlett, who studies coincidences, but also talks about interesting things related to the nature of consciousness and experience, and is also an ethicist. And the project I work on is highly grounded in ethics. And so this was a good person to meet. And 2 days after meeting her there, who studies coincidences, my friend Anna said, "Hey, you should meet my Bernie." And Bernie is a guy who also studies coincidences. And I says, well, that's interesting. It's the first coincidence. It's just, I had never met anybody who studied coincidences. And just 2 days ago, I just met somebody who studies coincidences. So that was the first coincidence. Second coincidence is I said, well, where's Bernie? And she said, well, he's in Charlottesville, and it's had some connection to UVA and DOPS. And I was like, well, it's funny you mentioned that. My next place I go in 2 days is Charlottesville, where I'm visiting UVA and DOPS, and some people from DOPS. And so that was the second coincidence. And then the third coincidence is that as I was driving down to meet you, I was listening to your book, which was talking about all the types of coincidences. And you were saying that there's a person, a type of coincidence, experiencer or coincider, as you call them, who their coincidences often have to do with somehow connecting people. And so and I had just met Sharon, whose coincidence type is connecting people related to her story. And so I was listening to you talk about connectors when I had just met a connector type who actually was the inspiration when I thought, oh, I should really meet this person, because I was inspired by her talk on coincidences to meet another person who I was like, well, this is getting me more and more interested in the topic. So that's yet another coincidence. And so then meeting you then really is sort of like, you also talk about meta coincidences, right? Which are coincidences about coincidences. But this really, because you both study coincidences, so you two are already kind of both meta to coincidences, are really meta coincidences. So I'm really talking about the rare category of coincidences about coincidences that are actually about coincidences. So this is I think it's a pretty unusual coincidence story. That's my first coincidence story. And this is really working out well for me. And then both of you joined the EPRC, which was also super cool. So like, that's all working out well as well. And very glad to have you both as part of the effort and team.
Glad to be part of it. The meta-ness is meta-ness is in you. You are the metaphor of this thing, where you're like above the two others, because it happened in your mind to be able to put the meta and the actual Sharon and me studying the stuff together. And that I'd like to suggest to our audience says something about the way your mind works, that you are a meta kind of guy, that you like to see something, see what's going on around it and how that relates to it, and then watch what else is going on that affects what's going on down there.
That's also true. Yeah. And that helps me with modeling and mapping and building big organizations, or helping to build them with a big team.
I have an idea why.